Welcome to Interface Example. Now you'll notice I've opened Visual Studio 2012. We're going to do a new project and we're just going to call this Interface Example. You will see this, by the way, out there in your work files folder. So I'll just click OK. Notice we did a Windows form application. We'll stay with that to make it very, very easy. And what we're going to do is do our standard form, and we'll put a button on it to kick off our functionality, although we may not even have any functionality here. But if you want to add some later, it'll be very easy to do that. So I'll just double click, drop a button onto my form, center it up because it feels better there. And then we'll just go to the code behind this button. Now this is where we're going to create an instance of our objects. We're going to instantiate our classes and play with the various implementations of the interface. So the first thing to do is let's create an interface. Now I'm going to go to Solution Explorer, click so that it comes out, left click. Then I'm going to right click on my project name and go to Add, and I'll just add a new item. And I'm just going to choose, notice right under class, here is interface, and we'll just let it name it interface 1, and we'll add that. And notice, very, very similar to the definition of a class, it just simply says interface, and then the name we gave it, and we will go with interface 1. So all we need to do is describe the methods that we want to be basically required if you implement or inherit from this interface. And so we're going to create a method called do that, and notice we put a semicolon instead of an implementation body like we normally do with a method. Then we're going to do a do this, and then, and I'm spreading them out so you can see them a little easier. Then we're going to do a do stuff, and we're not passing anything in. Try to keep it very simple. That's it. There's our interface. Okay, and so I will go back to Solution Explorer now, and we will create a class. And so I'll right click here, I'll choose Add, and there's a class shortcut here. I'll take class, we'll leave that at class 1, and I will add that. Now on this class, notice I can put methods in here all day if I want to, right? Print this and add code, right? If I want to do that. But I want you to notice something here. If at this point, if I try to compile this, I don't have a whole lot going on, right? But this thing is going to compile up and it's going to be ready to run. And nothing's happened because I don't have any functionality out there on my button click. However, I want to show you something. If in class 1, if I inherit interface 1, I'll put a space after the class name, I'll put a colon, and I'll just type interface 1, and you can see it sees interface 1 out there. And now at this point, if I attempt to compile, it's going to throw an error, and it's going to say, whoa, wait a minute. Do you want to continue and run? No, I don't. And notice it's saying that interface example class 1 does not implement do stuff, do this, and there's 3 of them, or do that. And so I'm going to have to implement those 3 methods. Okay? And so let's take care of that right quick. We're going to do public void do this, and I'll do a system windows forms message box dot show, and we'll just say do this. And if you guys want to take up some money and send it my way for typing lessons, that would be great, right? So notice there's this, and I'm just going to copy the other 3 in so that you don't have to endure my typing skills. And so I'm going to make my output window go away, and then I am just going to paste in. So notice I now have do this, do that, do stuff, and don't worry about do more stuff. Let me take that guy off for right now. Okay, so we've got do this, do that, and do stuff. Now notice, if I go to the interface, that's exactly what we have. Do that, do this, and do stuff. If I go to my class, notice we're putting the public modifier on these. We'll talk about that in a separate video in a moment. And now, if I try to compile this, you'll notice that it compiled up because I have now correctly implemented the interface. Now, let's go take a look at the code on our form. All right, so if I create an object from that class, class 1C equals a new instance of class 1. And I call C, you can see I see do this, do that, and do stuff. All right. Now, if I create another class, say a class 2, and I implement interface 1, I will have to provide some sort of implementation for all 3 of these methods in class 2, but my implementation code could be something totally different. And then any objects that I instantiate from class 2 would have those same methods, but they might carry out totally different functionalities in the implementation code involved. Okay? Now, that is simply I just inherited from an interface. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Well, let's thicken the plot here just a moment. Let's go out. We'll right click. And as a matter of fact, so I don't have to rush you, let's stop right here. Join me in part 2, and we're going to add another interface and inherit from 2 interfaces, and that'll kind of set us up for a problem that we'll solve in a 3rd video. So join me in part 2, and we'll continue here.